Guys, what's going on? Welcome to Serial at Midnight. My name is Heath, and in this video, we're going to have a spoiler-free discussion about the movie Motherless Brooklyn. This is the new Warner Brothers movie that is essentially a big-budget, modern-shot noir film. It's been so long since we've had one of these modern Hollywood noir films in the style of an LA Confidential. Actually, I think Edward Norton himself is promoting this movie. By the way, it's written for the screen and directed by Edward Norton. Fight Club, Edward Norton. And he's promoting it as kind of Rain Man meets LA Confidential. And that really does sum it up very well because it takes place in the 50s, but it's not a cop movie. It's a detective movie. The movie, spoiler free, but the plot is that Bruce Willis is a private investigator. Edward Norton is one of his low-level helpers, and he is afflicted with a condition that it's never given a name, but it's kind of like Tourette's. Like, he has to talk things out. He has OCD. He has to, close the door a certain amount of times. He has to repeat sentences until they sound right in his head. And it's this character, as he navigates, Edward Norton's character, as he navigates a very interesting detective mystery. That's what I really liked about this movie. Well, one of the many things that I really liked about this movie is that the mystery is solid and it doesn't tip things. It doesn't hold our hands. We start the movie knowing nothing because our main character knows nothing. And then throughout the course of the film, he starts to get this piece of information and this piece of information, and it slowly starts to come together. And I really respected that. In a lot of ways, I love noir. As we make this video, it's Noirvember. This is a time to celebrate film noir. And it feels like a classic noir. Now, maybe a neo-noir. Maybe we'll throw a Chinatown or something like that out there. But it is done with so much big... It's a big studio picture. And I think Norton himself is saying that it's been about a decade since Warner Brothers financed a period movie like this on such a grand scale. They fully recreate Brooklyn, New York in general, 1950s, the cars, the outfits, the clubs. Everything that I love about classic film noir is present in this movie. It's got the low-key lighting, the shadows, the streets. It's gray jazz, the costumes, the fedoras, the attitude, the moxie. All of it is present. It's actually really remarkable. And I'm really glad that... I'm glad it got made, first of all, because we're living in a time when so much of what comes out is a superhero movie or a big budget fantasy movie. What did Martin Scorsese say? That they're theme park movies, they're rides for, their theme park rides in movie form. And I think I understand what Scorsese is trying to say. This really is a different kind of movie, the kind of movie that they don't really make anymore. But here Warner Brothers has stepped up and financed this. It's got some fantastic performances in it. Bobby Cannavale is in it. Of course, Edward Norton. Bruce Willis, as mentioned at the top. Alec Baldwin is we'll just say he's kind of a political figure in this movie. And he's so unlikable. I'm like, is Alec Baldwin just channeling himself? Like, we've all heard the recordings of Alec Baldwin going off on his daughter and stuff, but he's just so like, let me tell you what we're gonna do. Let me tell you something about this movie. I can make any movie that I want to make. If you don't like it, I can make you disappear. If I don't like the movie that you make, I can make you disappear. I can make anything I want go away with a snap of my fingers. I'm Alec Baldwin. Don't cross me. I'm Alec Baldwin. That's the character he plays in this movie. And I think he's channeling that deep down Alec Baldwin. I don't want to call it fire. Threatening that threatening Alec Baldwin intimidation. It's really it's really good. What I want to say is, so it's like 2.5 hours. I think it's actually 2 hours and 24 minutes. It's a little long. I feel bad making that complaint. It's not really a complaint as much as it's an observation because, I don't know. Here's the thing. I had to go to the bathroom for at least half of this movie, but I was afraid to go because I knew that if I did, I would miss a plot element. This movie does not hand you plot. It does not like shine a light on it and have the narrator go, it was because of that book of matches that I knew where I was supposed to go. It doesn't do that. You have to put the pieces together. This is not the kind of movie that you go to the bathroom in the middle of. And there was one point I was like, this feels kind of slow right now. I think I could go to the bathroom. But if I had, I would have missed something very, very critical, and then I would have been lost. So if you're watching this movie on home media, if you're going to make a sandwich, you better pause it. That's all I'm going to say. But it does feel a little bit long. It does feel a little bit, I want to say the pacing in the first 2 hours is very kind of decompressed, deliberate. That's what I'll say. It's deliberate. And then the last, like the climax, is just like bam, 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 bam. And I need to see it again because there's plot elements that I don't think that I necessarily got. There's some quick cutting. There's some fast explanation. And because Edward Norton's character does narrate the movie, but there's never any, a Harrison Ford Blade Runner narration where he's like, and that was why that person was the killer, and that's how it was all wrapped up. Nothing like that. You have to do some work in this movie, and I actually think that's really cool. So again, LA Confidential meets Rain Man. It's not a cop movie, it's a detective movie, and it is a really good detective movie. But I think that these things are present because Edward Norton is this is his second movie. In the entire history of Edward Norton in Hollywood, he's done he's directed a movie before. I think it was in 2000. So that movie, I can't even remember the name of it, but he's like a priest and it's like a love triangle. I think Ben Affleck is in it. It's been almost 20 years since his last movie. Warner Brothers has finally given him the go-ahead, the green light to make this big budget Hollywood noir film. And it's a Hollywood-made Brooklyn noir film. I'll say that. And it feels a little indulgent, but I totally understand. Again, I'm not criticizing Edward Norton. I think he did a fantastic job. I wish that I could tell him. He's like, man, I really, really enjoyed your movie. What you've accomplished here is kind of remarkable because they don't make movies like this in 2019. They didn't make movies like this in 2015 or 2012. This kind of movie has been dead for a long time. This is the kind of thing that people like me, cineastas, have been striving for, that we've been craving for so long, to see Hollywood give us these old stuff, these 70s style noir kind of crime movies. And we don't get them very often. That's why when we do, we tend to latch onto them. I think reception as of the making of this video, it's only been out for a couple of days. I'm not seeing a lot of people talking about it. We do not believe that box office translates to quality. However, it was disappointing for me to see. I think this movie opened number 9 out of 10. Like, it barely made the top 10. And it should have been, if not number 1, number 2. So I don't think audiences are going to find this movie in the theater. However, listen, I lived through the debut of LA Confidential. I was a movie fan when LA Confidential came out. No one saw that at the theater either. Everybody discovered that on DVD. So if you haven't seen Motherless Brooklyn, if you're watching this video and it is not playing at your theater, first of all, if it is in your theater, it's a really good theatrical experience. We don't get movies like this in the theater anymore. So it's worth supporting to see it in the theater. But if you don't see it, if it's not at your theater, please discover it at home. It has a beautiful jazz score. I'm going to have to get the soundtrack. First of all, this movie made me want to read the book, which I haven't read, and I'm really excited about discovering because I want more of this world. But it also has a wonderful jazz soundtrack. There's some Dizzy Gillespie on there. It's that noir, just a single trumpet, a single piano, mournful. Yeah, have you guys played LA Noir, the Rockstar Games noir video game, LA Noir? This is that translated to a big budget Hollywood movie. Like. It's beautiful, right? You are welcome. You are so welcome. My pleasure. It's that kind of just like moody, atmospheric, gray crime movie that takes place in Brooklyn. And I'm going to have to get the soundtrack. There's also a Tom York and Flea of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Tom York of Radiohead and Flea of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, collaboration on the soundtrack. It's played a couple of times in the movie. I'm still undecided about it. I'm not sure. I think I like it, but there's also, so they issued that on a 45 single, vinyl 45, and so the A side is the Tom York Flea version, and then the B side is just trumpet jazz. I think Wynton Marsalis doing trumpet jazz of that song, and I think that the consensus is that the jazz version is better because it's jazz, man. So 50s Brooklyn brought to life, courtesy of Warner Brothers and Edward Norton. We loved this movie. Highly recommend that you guys check it out. I think that history, while the box office was not kind to this movie, I think that history will be very kind to this movie. And I think that this is one that younger movie fans are going to be discovering for a long, long time. So good work, Edward Norton. I hope that you get to do another project like this, because you realized this, you brought it to screen in a way that kept all the things that I think, that crime element, the atmosphere, the music, you did it. You did a great job, and I hope that we get to see more things like this from you in the future. So guys, that's our review of Motherless Brooklyn. If you take anything else away from this video, it's that I do not have a gray or a black hat. I have a brown hat. So guys, thank you very much. Take care. We appreciate you. And until next time, we will catch you later.